Hey guys, thanks for tuning in. So today we're going to be reviewing the BoMing Toys M19 Wi-Fi FPV Hexacopter. And this is a review model from gearbest.com. We'll have the links down in the description of where you can purchase one of these if you're interested. But anyway, let's get started with the review. And what we're going to be doing is basically unboxing this, kind of inspecting it, going over the setup, going over how to connect the FPV camera to a cell phone, and then going ahead and doing some test flights in the park, getting some hat cam video of it flying, getting some video of the onboard video, having that up on the screen, and then also doing some indoor house flights, seeing how it performs in a no-wind environment as well in the house, and then coming on back to the bench and doing kind of a final wrap-up, pros and cons. So anyway, let's go ahead and unbox this real quick, see what we get in the box. Okay, looks like we have two different manuals. We got a bag of goodies here. We have the hex. Oh, neat looking hex. We have a clip for a cell phone. We have the transmitter. Alright, so in the box we've got these manuals, we've got the Hexacopter, we have a little bag of goodies here, we have a clamp for our cell phone to mount to the controller. This is the transmitter here with part of the clamp portion there. And let's go ahead and take a look at the hex first. So kind of interesting, it's got that swept back look on its arms. The two arms, rear arms are coming back, and the side arms are swept back as well. And interesting prop guards. Looks like, wow, okay, that's a great way of doing prop guards. So they just have these little push clips here, and you can just push them on and they just snap in to these little grooves in the arms. So if you want to take them off, no screws or anything, they just slip right off after you push in the little tabs. So I'm going to go ahead and take those 6 off right away because I'm not going to be flying with them. If you are just starting out, definitely keep those on until you get a little better to save your propellers from crashing. Let's see what we have here. It looks like we have an on-off switch on the bottom, and we have a few screws in the bottom here. Looks like we have a real tiny little camera. I know it's a little bit hard to see with the black, but the camera is right there, right in the front. And it's looking like these kind of vent holes are probably going to be the lights. And let's see what else here. It looks like we have a screw on the back. Interesting. We can see the 2.4 gigahertz antenna sticking out the back. Let's go ahead and open up the bag of goodies here and see what we have. Okay, so we're getting the battery charger. So it looks like this is just a USB to micro LoSi or Wakera. And the other end you would just plug into any cell phone charger, wall charger, or a computer to charge that. And it looks like they are giving us a complete set of props, so that's great. Good job. It's always nice to have the manufacturer include a complete set of propellers because you're going to be crashing and you need to get some propellers right away. They also give us a screwdriver, a little screwdriver, and a little propeller removal tool, which will just pry these propellers right off. So that's good to have. So I'm going to use the screwdriver right away just to undo this little screw and see what this is all about. It is just kind of a door that kind of pops open. It does actually kind of snap a little bit. There's a little bit of a snap to it, so you may not actually need to put on this screw. You can see how it's kind of held in there, and you got to pry it up pretty good to unsnap it. And so that's good to know. And then we're just kind of pulling out the battery here, and I'm just going to unplug it to see what the battery is all about. Looks to be a 3.7 volt 450 mAh lithium polymer battery with that micro LoSi Wakera. type of connector. So you actually got quite a bit of room side to side, so it looks like you could probably fit definitely a thicker battery in here. So that's good to know. And actually a little longer as well. Looks like it'll accommodate a battery that's a little bit longer. I'm going to go ahead and turn on the switch real fast and see what lights. Okay, yes, so there's 2 blue lights in the front and then 2 reds in the back for orientation purposes. It's going to be a little bit difficult to see it from the front unless it's kind of tilted up a little bit and you're underneath it. Okay, and since the bottom of the mount's already mounted to the controller via this bracket here, all you really have to do is screw on this top. Screw on this top part of the mount. Slide your cell phone in there. I'm not sure it's going to fit my huge old Nexus 6, but let's just give it a try. Okay, it does. Alright, cool. Most of them don't fit this giant phone, but looks like this one does. Okay, so let's quickly just go over the controls for this guy and see what they all do. So basically the two top left and right triggers. The left top trigger is basically turning off on the lights. So if you're just day flying, click that in, turn it off for a little bit more battery life. And the right one is going to do your flips. So you click that in and push any direction on this stick and you'll do some flips. And just like any controller, we have our throttle up and down. So this will gain altitude, lose altitude here for lift. And then we have our yaw left and right. It'll be turning the quad like this, or the hex like this. And then we have our pitch and roll here. So forward, back, left and right. Roll and pitch. And then down here we have our trimming for pitch and roll. And over on the right side it looks like we have 3 active buttons, and what it's saying they do is basically this one's for the display. This one doesn't have a display, so that's probably going to do nothing. And then these 2 on the bottom is headless mode for the middle one, and it's saying the 1 key return for that one, so that'll bring it home. And then these buttons here, this is trimming for the yaw. And then this one is actually the speed adjustment. So this is your rates here of flight. So you should be pressing this up and down to do faster or slower pitching and rolling. So you can fly a little faster. Now it looks like on the back you are going to need the little screwdriver they give you in the box, unless you have one, to open up the door. And it takes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 AA batteries. And the door snaps in nice and tight, so you shouldn't have to put that screw back in. They basically give you this extra manual just for hooking up the Wi-Fi to your cell phone. What you're going to want to do is go to the, if you have, Google or Apple, go ahead and go to the correct app store, and then just search for GX UFO. That's the one it uses. So we're just going to go ahead and install GX UFO. And then just like most of these Wi-Fi to cell phone FPV apps, what you need to do is first go into your wireless controls here. Go ahead and turn on the Hexacopter. Just power it up. And what we can see is, we can see down here on the bottom, we can see that there's an LG with some numbers at the end. So that's going to be the M19. So we're going to click that, and it's going to go ahead and start to pair to it. And then this phone has the new Marshmallow OS in it. It's the Nexus 6, so it has the new one. And if it doesn't sense a connection to the internet, it gives you this warning. So it's just telling me you're not connected to the internet, stay connected. You have to hit yes in this OS, and then go ahead and open up the GX UFO app. Okay, so once the GX UFOs app is up, go ahead and just click play. And there we go. So we have real-time FPV to the cell phone. It's a little bit wavy because of the white light. I guess it doesn't like the white. So you get those lines down the screen. But there it is. So we can see, let's go down here. We can see what the response time is. Looks like we're having maybe 200-300 milliseconds of lag time. A couple hundred milliseconds of lag time. So anyway, we can see it there, and then we get some controls up here. These controls are going to be snapping pictures, so you get some sound. Unfortunately, even on some of the other quads I've done with this GX UFO, unfortunately, when you do take a picture, it crashes the app. I'm not sure why it does that, but it does it on my phone for some reason. But anyway, so I'm going back in to start and stop the video. There's this video button here, and then it's going to give you kind of a count timer of the video it's taking. And what it's doing is it's just recording the video directly to your phone. So it's using up storage in your phone, and it's just recording the video you see on the screen, less this menu, without the menu there. So that starts and stops the video recording, and then you can go ahead and click this next button over to the right, which will give you, well, it crashed again. Let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so it should be able to show you the pictures. So there's the pictures I took, I guess, a couple of the pictures, probably this one. And then you can open it with whatever viewer you want. Yeah, so there's one of the pictures I just took. Coming back, we can see our video. And that's the video I just took temporarily. Can't play video. Let's try to play it with a different player. How about VLC? Nope. So that can't play it either. So I guess you're gonna have to find a video player that plays this video file. I'm not sure why it's not playing here, but I'm sure you could download one somewhere that will play this type of video file. Anyway, that's how you connect to the phone and get it working for your FPV. And so what we're going to do is we're going to charge this guy up, and we're going to take it to the park, do some house flight, and just to get, you know, different environments and how it does with no wind and some wind. And then I'll come on back to the table and do kind of a pros and cons. Also, I'll do some recording on the camera here and try to put some photos up in the video to display what the photo quality is, and also the video, if I can get that video player to work, or it'll probably be able to read it in the video editing software. So anyway, guys, let's go fly this thing. Okay, so we're at the park with the BoMing Hex, the Wi-Fi FPV Hex. I'm using my HTC phone this time for gonna have the FPV on here. So let's go ahead and turn this on. See if we can get the FPV connected, and let's see how this thing does. Alright, pretty zippy. So this is rate 1. It seems very docile. I do have some wind coming in from that direction, about 5 miles per hour. The right trigger is our flips. Seems like it flips good. So our rate button here is the throttle trim. We have 3 rates of flight. Let's see how the okay, so first rate, pitch and roll, very docile. There's our yaw. So each rate of yaw and pitch seems to be doing good. Let's go out and do a flight test. Not sure how much battery time we'll have. Wow. Okay, so range seemingly not so good. Let's try that again. So getting wishy-washy at only about 50 to 75 feet. So this may be more of a house flyer. I'm gonna go a little higher. Okay, I'm going a little higher and I'm getting a little more distance, but maybe 75 feet if you're going high out from you. So not the best at the range. Let's do that again while paying attention to the FPV. So the FPV at about 50 feet gets really freezy. I'm looking at the screen and it was getting kind of freezing. All right, let's see what else we got here. Gonna do some of these right-hand buttons here. So there's the return to home. So the second button on the right bottom I did launch more in this direction, so let's get an accurate return to home. So I'm out here and I'm going to push this middle button. So it is returning to home well in the general bearing. Okay, so return to home was that middle bottom button. Let's see if we got a headless here. Now the wind's coming from my back. Okay, yeah, so the top button is headless. Seems to be working well. I'm in different yaw rates, and back is towards me, right is right, left is left, and forward is forward. So that's working. Let's turn that off. And let's just fly it till the battery dies. See how it does? It's got a pretty fast yaw. Pretty quick little guy, that's for sure. Oh, little trouble keeping itself up in full pitch on the third rate, but it is very fast. Definitely fun to fly. Has no problem with speed, that's for sure. Let's go ahead and get a close-up of this guy. Alright, definitely fun. Lighting is next to nothing during the day. I can just see a little bit. Okay, it looks like it's flashing now. A little bit of lights, blue and red lights on the bottom there coming through those vents. So it is flashing. I assume it is in the low level battery mode, indicating it's low level battery, and let's just fly it until it drops. Still recording video. I'm gonna go straight up for a little bit. Okay. Oops. Okay, yeah, so now it's going into its low voltage landing. I got throttle full thrust, and it went ahead and shut off the motors for low voltage cutoff. So that's good. We can see our camera is still recording. So going to stop the camera, and hopefully it saves that video file. And just while we're out here, I'm just going to take a picture while holding it. Okay, so it even crashed on this phone too. So after I took a picture, the app crashed. So just keep that in mind as well. I think it does still take the picture, and we'll have the video and pictures up on the cut into this video so you can see the quality. Anyway, worked pretty good. Let's go ahead and do a house flight, see how it performs in the house in no wind, and get some video from that as well, and then go on back to the bench and do kind of a final pros and cons on how this thing did. Okay guys, so we're in the house with this guy a little bit in the afternoon, so we have a little bit lower light, see how the lights work. And so let's go ahead and start this up, hit play, and there we go. So we're seeing the FPV. So let's try this thing out in the house, see how it does. I'm gonna go ahead and hit record. So now we're recording the video that's shown on the screen, and here we go. Actually gonna try to do a quick little calibration gyro cal. So bottom left sticks to the left and bottom left sticks to the right. Looks like they do probably gyro and accelerometer. That's better. So nice and smooth. Oops, looks like the back actually popped open. Probably because I sat down kind of hard. So let's try that again. There we go. Okay, so nice and smooth flyer. Let's go ahead and try a lift test since we have fresh batteries. So from a hover, full throttle up. Wow, really good lift on fresh batteries. And let's go ahead and do some yaw testing. So there's our yaw. We can see our screen here, FPV screen. It's looking okay. The right trigger is doing our flips. Pretty good flipper, but it seems to be wandering quite a ways. Okay, maybe that was just me. Alright, the right flip wanders to the left, but the left flip stays pretty stationary. Alright, flip's decent. And now let's go ahead and try some other functions. This top button here, that should be putting us in headless mode, so I'm going complete yaw and going forward, left, right, back. As I'm doing this, you can see the video is kind of getting chopping in and out. That's kind of unfortunate. This one seems to have a little bit choppy FPV video. And we're going to turn off that headless mode. Seems to be working okay. And let's go ahead and try this second button down. Okay, so that looks like that's a return to home. Hitting that once, coming back home works flawlessly. And okay, the bottom button doesn't do anything. I'm not hearing any beeps or anything, so that's non-functional. So our rates of flight are the throttle trim up. So we got 1, 2, and 3 rates of flight. So, and then to go down in our rates, we're pressing the down button on the throttle trim. So here we go, let's do a yaw test. So that's 1, 2, 3. So it gets a little faster, it seems, at each rate. Very good. And let's see the pitch and roll rates. Pitch, roll in rate 1. Rate 2 gets a little higher angle. And rate 3, even higher. So we'll be able to go super fast with this thing. And we can still see the lights are a little hard to see still unless you're kind of underneath it. So that's the thing about black copters, is you're just going to have that difficulty. Whoa. Difficulty kind of seeing them. Let's go ahead and do a TX shutoff test before it runs out of batteries. So hovering and shutting off the transmitter. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so it kind of does a slow drop and then powers off. So that's good to know. So it immediately goes into a slow drop. So you might fly away a little bit, but at least it starts to go down after a second. And it looks like we are in low voltage already. We see these lights blinking on the bottom. So it is indicating we are in low voltage. Just gonna, before it runs out, fly up here, try to get some footage. So you can see that FPV screen as I'm flying it's pretty choppy and getting kind of still. So not the best FPV again for this one. But it is the Wi-Fi FPV, so that could also be a little bit of interference. Anyway, great test. Put it through all its paces. I'm just kind of hovering until it goes into its low voltage landing. Still got pretty much a little bit of punch here, even though the low voltage lights are on. Seems to be pretty smooth. I'm impressed with this one so far as how it flies. The range of the FPV doesn't seem to be all that great, but you have the option nonetheless to record FPV. All right. And Merry Christmas to everybody. Okay, so we're just flying until we die. Seems to have a long flight time after the low voltage lights start blinking. So it gives you plenty of time to check them before it will drop. So there we go, full throttle and it's dropping. and it shut off its motors, so that's good to know. So you won't kill your battery, it will shut off, and it kind of does a slow landing for its low voltage. So we're going to stop the recording. So that gave us looks like 6 minutes, 6.5 minutes almost of the recording. But we'll go back to the bench on this, do kind of a final pros and cons. Hey guys, welcome back. So the BoMing M19 Wi-Fi, W stands for Wi-Fi. Back to the bench here, and gonna do a little pros and cons. You saw some flight testing, some video, and all that stuff, the unboxing, kind of all in one video for this one. But basically just going to go through some pros and cons real quick, see how it did, get some flight timings and ranges and all that kind of stuff. So first of all, this again was the Wi-Fi version that has the camera in the front, and you can attach your cell phone, link your cell phone up to it, which I went over in the introduction, first part of the video, and that worked pretty well. It did have some choppiness, unfortunately, at about 50 feet. Just being honest here, when it got about 50 feet away from you, there was some choppiness in the Wi-Fi connected to your phone app, and it was kind of difficult to fly if you're flying with FPV. So 50-foot range comfortably on the FPV is about all you're going to get. But the control range itself is a little better, probably about 75 feet. Not the best, kind of on the lower end I've seen with these kinds of quadcopters, but I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself with the ranges. Let's go ahead and get back to the rates. This thing had 3 rates of pitch, roll, and yaw. So all 3 rates were spot on, really good for flying fast, and also the yaw was corresponding with all those rates as well. The Hex here did fly fast and smooth. No complaints there. It was nice and controllable. It's got a nice set of props on it here. They're nice and flexy. The lights on this thing were really hard to see. Unfortunately, we have just these little perforated arms here. I don't like the design on this one, especially with this black body. I think the only ones that are available are black in this model here. There's one with a red color here. This is the blue version. But the lights, you really can't see them unless it's kind of right above you in the daytime or the nighttime. So they need to improve on the lights. They need to put maybe little LED lights in the corners, maybe the 2 backs and the 2 fronts, different colors for each. That would really improve the lighting on this. So that's something they can improve on, because really you can't tell the orientation at all in the daytime or nighttime unless it's directly above your face a few feet and you're looking up. For beginner pilots, that might be a little bit difficult. But anyway, moving on to how the video looked. You could see the video demonstration in the previous part, the flight test, and it was a little bit bright and washed out. Didn't really like the way the camera was handling it. The camera is pointed down a little bit, so you are going to get maybe that 45-degree angle all the time. So when you do fly forward, you're just going to be looking straight down at the ground until you tilt up and hover. So just to let you know how that does there. And I do like, one little pro though, is I do like the power switch on this thing. It's got a little power switch on the arm, so you can plug in the battery, and you're not rushing to fly it right when you plug in the battery. You can take your time, do what you need to do, then power on and set it down and fly. The power door, I like the power door. It's got a screw here if you want. It's kind of an interesting molded design, but they did make it so it snaps shut fairly well, and you can just pull it with your fingernail and undo it here. Now, getting to some of the flight times, I did try a few different batteries in here. The battery it comes with is a 450 mAh, and as far as the flight times, I was getting 4 minutes until the low voltage blinking lights down here, if you can ever see them, and then another minute until it went into forced landing, so 5 minutes until forced landing on the stock 450 mAh battery. I had a 650 mAh battery that I shoved in here. It does fit, and I can't remember what craft it was from, but it's the SEMA X5C type battery. I think it might have been from like a CMAX 5C clone, but it will fit these batteries in here. They are really tight. This one, especially the 650 mAh, it slides in really tight. So make sure if you're doing this, put a little tab here. I recommend a pull tab on any kind of battery that's tight sliding in. Just a couple pieces of, just a piece of packing tape that's wrapped around and joined at the end here, so you're not breaking the wire connections. But with this one in here, it seems like you kind of reach a point where the weight is a little too much for this small of a quad or a hexacopter. But with this 650 mAh, I was getting 3 minutes and 30 seconds. Interestingly, half a minute less time before the low voltage blinking lights started flashing, and that's probably because of the whole weight of the quad was just so much. But I could fly for another 3 minutes, and the low voltage landing did kick in at 6 minutes and 30 seconds. So you get about 1 minute and 30 more than the stock battery with this 650 mAh battery, but you just have to ignore the low voltage blinking lights because you can fly for another 3 minutes. And that's the way this one went. And this one did have the low voltage cutoff after it landed, and if the motors are still turning, it will shut off the motors and prevent the battery from killing itself. But anyway, guys, that was the review of the BoMing M19 W, the Wi-Fi, which you can hook up to your cell phone. I hope you enjoyed the video. I do a lot of videos like this, reviews, flight tests, mods, action cam reviews, all that kinds of stuff, and some RC car reviews as well. So I'd recommend checking out the channel. I think you'll like it. But anyway, thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.